Many people have asked me about astral projection. I thought I'd share my own personal experience about astral projection and soul travel. And at the end, I'll give you a link you can go to get a free book that talks about soul travel. Well, like a lot of people, I was seeking answers to what happens after I die. Am I more than a body? I sense that there must be more to me than my physical body. And was there really a heaven? It seemed as though there wasn't a lot of information on heaven and not a lot of good answers to these questions. So my freshman year in high school, I came across a book called Journeys Out of the Body, and that was by a gentleman named Robert Monroe, who talked about astral projection and gave techniques to do so. So I started to try to do that. On one hand, I was afraid of getting out of the body. On the other hand, I was excited because I knew it could answer the question I'd been asking. But I found a few challenges, a few problems with astral projection. And the first was that it was limited to the astral plane. I started to read about the fact that there was more than just the astral plane, that it was the emotional body of man and the emotional world. That astral projection was a little hard on the emotional body or the astral body, and sometimes even physically too. People who do astral projection sometimes will get a really sore solar plexus because it's a little bit like trying to force out this inner body we have, that we all have, away from the physical body. And then I had a friend, when she learned astral projection, she had a problem where before she'd go to bed each night, she would astral project whether she wanted to or not. And then on occasion she'd take an astral trip and she had a hard time getting back to her body, like there were things or entities trying to keep her from getting back into the body, because astral projection is a little unnatural. It's a little bit forced. It doesn't allow all the inner bodies in place. So I actually gave her a word to sing, and the word was Hu, H-U. And I also turned it over to a spiritual guide I have known as the Mahanta to try to help her with this astral projection problem she was having. So these are kind of some of the challenges of astral projection. My senior year in high school, I was presented with a book by Paul Twitchell on soul travel called Eckankar Key to Secret Worlds. And in there, Paul talked about not only the astral world, but some of the other inner worlds as well too, and also gave techniques for experiencing soul travel, a very natural process, unlike astral projection. So Paul introduced me to these inner planes, including the physical, of course, physical body, and then the astral, which we've talked about, the emotional body, but that soul has these other bodies, just like a person wears layers of clothing in the winter. So there was also the causal body, or the causal world, or causal plane, and that's where the time track is kept, and people can often view past lives there. There's a mental body. That's where our thoughts come through, ideas and opinions, attitudes, etc. Then at the high part of the mental, there's a place called the etheric plane or etheric world. And the etheric's kind of the unconscious, but it's that last link between the lower bodies and in the worlds of duality and what's known as the soul plane. And there are many planes beyond the soul plane, but the soul plane is where we first start to experience who we really are as soul. And we experience this world beyond time and space. A little hard to understand with the mind, but when you experience it, it's filled with light and love and a connection with the divine. So if you'd like to learn more about soul travel, there is a free book available from eckankar.org/free book that talks about past life dreams and soul travel. And then it's a book by Harold Klemp called Past Life Dreams and Soul Travel. And that's a current book you can find at eckbooks.com, Amazon, eckankar.org. Probably also find it at your library. So if nothing else, do a little bit of research about astral projection and also some research on soul travel if you're interested. I hope this has been helpful.